Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Cam6978, and in today's video, I'm joined with GoodOl'Maurice from the Alliance and Knotty Karate from the Republic. We've got a good topic about Galaxy of Heroes, a game that is so good and so interactive and fun, but lately it's just been lacking in so many ways. Like, the gear crunch is unbelievably real, and we're just going to chat about why this game needs to be more balanced with certain gear that we get every day through challenges, why we have like tons of purple gear for like Mark 6 med packs but not Carbantes. So I'm just going to dive right in and talk about some characters that we've gotten recently, like Thrawn, who needs just 400 Carbantes, R2 needs 250, Ahsoka Fulcrum needs 200, and though we can all unlock these characters, a lot of the free-to-play players can't really get these characters geared up, which kind of sucks. What do you guys think about the new characters and what's kind of going on with the game recently?
I think we're getting a lot of them, a lot of characters, and they all need the same gear. Really got to choose. You got to choose wisely. Who you're going to gear up.
Too many characters. We need new content, not new characters. There's just way too many to put. Hey, has anyone done a calculation on how long it takes to farm, for example, 400 Carbantes from daily challenges? Is that like over a month?
It's it's well over a month from challenges. It's like I get 75, I think, per week. That's at the peak. So probably a little bit under. So 70 a week. So you get, 280 a month.
So you're talking 4 to 5 months if you're not specifically farming for them?
No, you're talking. At the same time? I mean, we're talking about, 2 months to get 400 at the worst RNG possible, which is probably what's going to happen because this is EA running the game. So drop rates are down always, and you just got to kind of bank on that. So that's 2 months of grinding for one, based on somebody who needs 400 Carbantes, like Thrawn. That's 2 months of grinding for one character that by the time you get those 400 Carbantes, not to mention all the stun guns you'll need, the meta might change, and so that basically makes your farming for him kind of useless. Now, Thrawn, of course, is a little bit of an exception because he's good for other things like the Rancor and Phase 3 of the Heroic AAT, but for the most part, like Ahsoka Fulcrum or other characters, people don't want to invest in characters that aren't going to be very useful in most aspects of the game. They want to get the most bang for their buck, so they're going to put their resources into characters that they can get the most out of.
Absolutely.
So, like, I don't know, if you were to farm General Kenobi, I honestly think it's a good idea to farm General Kenobi because he's a good cleanser. He's got the anti-crit meta where he can give people crit immunity and taunt. He's got the retribution attack, which is honestly like the coolest thing ever. I love when he does the negotiator move. It's cool. But he's always been one of my favorite characters. And moving on, just like Thrawn, like we've talked about, Thrawn is really good, but he's also a pain to gear up, and he's a pain to get through the Phoenix Squadron, our beloved Phoenix Squadron that we all were basically forced to gear and farm in order to get Thrawn. I'm not really thrilled about that. I'm not really thrilled about Ewoks. You think we're going to have to farm the Ewoks in order to get Jedi Knight Luke from like a legendary event? You think that's how the devs are going to do it?
I hope not, but I could definitely see them making them required for something else. I could see them just maybe some sort of a new Flash event, possibly like we just had. I could definitely see a Flash event involving the Ewoks. I would probably wager some money on that. Wager some crystals.
Yeah, we know you'd wager some crystals.
Well, if the trend continues how they've been doing it, if they're going to give us a new faction rework, a new character, et cetera, they're going to be necessary to complete some sort of in-game event.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Especially since Chirpa is the giveaway character for the month of July. So, obviously, that's going to dovetail into some other plan they have.
I've been playing for a while, and like it's so hard for me to sit here and imagine how they're going to make the Ewoks relevant because I've had them for over a year and a half, just fooling around with them, and they're worthless, man. I mean, they're not.
Yeah.
They have good little uses in the raid here and there, but as a unit, I mean, I don't know how they're gonna do this. I'm pretty interested to see. Like, we might be talking like a complete overhaul here.
I mean, they could, maybe unlock C-3PO. That would be a little bit more acceptable, in my opinion.
That's an option, yeah. Maybe possibly give us a 50 walk somehow, and
they're gonna have Log Ray. They're gonna have Log Ray. You can't forget Log Ray or whatever his name is.
Leaktar. It's gonna be Leaktar.
But anyway, I mean, the way they're going is not. I'd like to see something different. Maybe like Jedi Luke is, I think, one of the coolest characters. So maybe they hinted at farming him with the Flash event. I don't know if you guys remember, like, getting him 7 stars. That'd be cool if you, like, if you got him to 7 stars, so you could 7-star your Jedi Master Luke.
I just 7-starred my farm boy Luke yesterday, so we'll see if that pays off from the ghost stories we've heard.
Yeah, I really hope it's not true, and I hope everybody watching this just sends a prayer and says, I hope we don't have to farm the Ewoks in order to get Jedi Master Luke.
Going back to the gear, these Ewoks are not easy to gear. Tebow takes tons of carbines, which you talked about. Chirpa takes tons of stun cuffs. I actually made the mistake of taking him to gear 11. I had this idea in my head that just completely failed and bombed. So now I'm stuck with this gear 11 Chirpa that I've got all this raid gear and stun cuffs invested into. Then they're not easy. I don't know about Scout. Mine's like gear 7, but
I'm
more gear.
That sounds horrible. So moving on, the game originally had like 60 characters, and now it has over 100. And there's been some reworks, so characters have gotten better. We saw the rework with Boba Fett and how he kind of changed, and he became pretty good. But there are also a lot of characters that are left behind from like some reworks, such as Greedo. And IG-88's like the same. He's always decent, but he's not great. But recently I've been doing some faction passes, which is good, but there are more characters, and we still don't have more ways to get gear. The Flash events have been kind of good with getting gear. The Luke Skywalker Flash event was key for getting like those big Mark III comlink and the Mark 8 discs, health discs that you need. That was really helpful. Maybe they could give out some like 25 Carbantes. I don't know. I just felt like the 5 Carbantes was just not helpful. What do you guys think about the Phoenix Flash event?
Repetitive, zero replay value. I mean, you're sitting there, and there was no. I think they would have been a little better if they did like a game notification, like Flash event live. If you didn't log in just randomly and notice that it was there, you had no idea. Just kind of popped up.
It was nice to get 3 Zetas after unlocking Thrawn at 5 stars, and the Flash event came up again, and I could actually get 3 Zetas for all that work.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was terrible, and I slept through most of the Flash events because there was no notifications, and it was repetitive. Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, yeah,
it's free. It's free stuff. I mean, you can't really complain too much about free stuff.
Yeah, it just felt like you guys said, it kept coming back, and for some reason, every now and then I was like, I'll let it pass. I don't feel like auto-playing it, or, the battle was kind of difficult, so you sort of had to play a little bit, and for me, I was just kind of like, I don't really feel like it. I'll let it go, So that was kind of my thought process when the Flash event was coming out. I didn't really like it this time.
Well, hopefully, I mean, total crossing my fingers, but we're inevitably going to get some sort of like level cap increase, maybe to 90, 95, whatever it may be in the future. And with new level cap increases in the past have come new challenge tiers, so maybe in the future we get an additional challenge tier with stun cuffs available, stun guns, the stuff we use tons of. Maybe, the next tier in the strength challenge has a possibility of 10 to 12 Carbanes, stuff like that, just to kind of just slowly get us more and more gear.
Yeah, we've been sitting at 85 for a while now. Pretty weird stuff to think about, increasing that level, what it would do to the game. It would be kind of interesting for sure.
I think before they increase a level on anything, what needs to happen is to have a more sustainable way to acquire the gear that really everyone needs, and that you're just kind of a jerk for requesting for it. Like anyone who requests stun guns all day or stun cuffs all day, everyone needs those. And that will never change. They need to balance the way that, maybe you can trade in your electro binoculars for some stun cuffs, even at a low exchange rate. But there needs to be a way to do that, really.
Oh, absolutely. Or even maybe some of the gear they create, which we don't really know what it is yet, to get the Gear 12. Maybe it uses some of these like MK8 binoculars and those MK4 stun guns you just have thousands of. Maybe some of the new pieces require, what we think right now is useless gear. That'd be great too.
Yeah, just the amount of gear I have in thousands of purples. I mean, purple gear, and it doesn't really have the same value. There's some blue gear that has higher value to me than purple gear and gold gear. So it's all based on a character's needs, and a lot of characters share the same gear, which makes it really hard to gear out characters. So like a gear exchange would really, really help most people if there was a balanced way to do it. Like have you trade in 5 purples for 1 purple of your choice or something like that, or maybe currency. like the shard shop in a way, except the shard shop currency exchange rate is quite brutal. There's something different that would maybe help us get rid of the thousands of gear we have and then trade it in for the gear we need, which everybody knows that stun guns, carbantes, stun cuffs, always in high demand.
And, maybe it's coming, because, in the past, again, I've been playing, almost since launch. I mean, in the past, people were complaining they had too much Galactic War currency, arena currency, and they gave us the Shard Shop. Shard Shop hasn't always been there. So maybe there's another section, it's like a gear shop or something like that, maybe coming. That'd be great.
Yeah, and, they could put that right, I think there's a little hologram right by the mod shipments. That would be ideal. If they could do that, they could put that in there.
Yeah, there's one in the main that's not filled out over on the right.
There's plenty of potential for anything, that the devs want to add. It's just a matter of, the thought process, the exchange rate, how it's a, money-making company, so they're going to have to make money somehow. And right now their biggest thing is gear, but you can't make money if people slowly start to drop off game because there's no way to get the gear the free-to-play way. So I think they got to kind of consider that when they add new things and make gear so needed.
Agreed.
Let's talk about ships a little bit, because ships has also kind of stayed the same forever, and I just feel like there's no incentive to doing ships for me. I mean, at the beginning, you got to get your Zetas fast, you got to get your Zetas before everybody else, but now it's just kind of chilling. What do you guys think about ships?
I kind of like ships, but I just hit level 60 around the time they came out. Just never gave up on them, so they're there. Like, I don't hate them. It's definitely not the best part of the game, that's for sure. It needs something. Ships need something, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I went through we were talking about Carbonis all night. I actually invested the 450 Carbonis in the Scarif Rebel Pathfinder for that ship, and I mean, I haven't used him, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, anywhere else in the game since I've done that, except just for that ship. Because that was kind of disappointing. But I mean, I spend probably a solid 3-4 minutes a day playing my one ship battle, then just go ahead and wrap it up.
Maurice, you have so many sad stories about this game, man. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not sad. It's just the ship's great. Don't get me wrong. Biston's U-Ring is incredible, but it's just the fact that I had to invest in Scarif Rebel Pathfinder. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
he's terrible.
App described that as an incredibly soul-sucking experience he does not recommend to anyone.
Oh,
if I remember correctly. After he Gear 11 Scarif.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, gearing those, I don't want to gear up 3 characters to have one good ship. That's kind of why the Phantom and the Ghost I'm not really looking forward to, because you have to gear up those 3 characters in order to make that one ship good.
Yeah. Just 2 pilots is difficult enough. It completely doubles the gear load, even if they just have average requirements.
Like, we've got ships that, I mean, like the TIE Reaper, that's been out a long time, and just no way to get it. Kylo Ren's ship, we got all sorts of stuff.
Cassian's U-Wing?
Well, yeah, but that was kind of a boo-boo. There was supposed to be a tournament for it, and the tournaments got botched, and then, but the Kylo and TIE Reaper were way before these Phoenix ships, so we can get the Phoenix ships now. I'm just curious, how are we going to go about getting that? Is it going to be a hard node, a Cantina node? A Cantina node ship would be cool. What do we have, like 1 or 2 of them?
Yeah, we got
It's probably going to be fleet currency in a
4.
node somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things I feel like that have been forgotten, like you said. I wish they'd kind of bring back tournaments too. They're kind of fun. Added a little more pizzazz into the game, especially right now. But even like some simple things like ship reworks, making some ships better would make something different, or adding, a faction pass plus a new ship for certain characters. You could make the argument Count Dooku could have his own personal solar sailor, and he could have a ship or something, Asajj Ventress, or anything would help.
I honestly feel it's the same way with the regular content that we have available. It's not about adding new things. It's about providing new content to use the things we have, whether it's the ships we have already or the tunes. There needs to be some other context to use them in.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Well, that's what tournaments
want a new ship to level up, man. Tournaments were a new game mode that we don't have anymore. So
what I'm saying? Like, I was just complaining about Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, but in a tournament setting, I could use Scarif Rebel Pathfinder as just a backup tank, to save me some ally points or crystals, whatever they decide, to have us use for that tournament.
And another great point about that is you'd get gear from the tournaments, and a lot of it, and a lot of credits, and a lot of ability mats and shards.
I'm not really sure why they got rid of them.
right?
Yeah.
It was hacks. It was the hacks for people that could just, get to the top with a character at level 1 that was undestroyable or something. I don't think that was that common, though. It's not even worth mentioning, but that was the main reason.
That was very fortunate. It never happened on any of my tournament shards, ever.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I never saw that either, but it must have happened somewhere, probably in Japan. Anyway, moving on. The last thing I want, there's a couple more things, but a big thing that changed was the health bars on ships, and I always thought they were gonna add astromechs or mods or something, hardware abilities to ships to make them more tanky or look more tanky or whatever. I've seen on my bigs, whenever I target lock enemies and before the patch, before the update, it seemed like he was unbeatable to get through. People couldn't get through my bigs, but now it's so much easier. I don't know why. They said it didn't affect anything, but I feel like it did. And I don't really know if you guys have had that problem too, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah, they gave us those animations that just suck more battery out of my phone.
Yeah. There you go. I just feel like now people can go through my bigs a lot easier. I don't know if that's the same with you guys, though.
Oh, I waste bigs now.
I'm not sure if that's the case, but it definitely doesn't help because there's a lot of times when someone is at like 2 red slivers of health, and then it takes like a whole turn of my entire fleet to take them out, and they keep regaining protection. It's very frustrating. I should know that like one little chunk of health should be 1 attack. Or something like that. If you could break it down that way.
It's equivalent to the amount that was originally there. It's just like they made it into smaller. They made it to bigger segments of health. I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. I just feel like that and like the seismic charge from Boba Fett that can crit now, where he like drops in that bomb and it goes under protection. That just seems like way too overpowered. I feel like anybody could beat me on ships. Because the AI is so bad.
That's one of the best ships in the game.
Yeah. The AI is bad in ships. The AI is bad for Arena. I don't know if they'll be able to do anything about that. That's kind of why a lot of people don't really want to gear up Thrawn. So that's what's going on right now.
Thrawn's just a raid character for me. I doubt I'll ever use him in Arena.
I think he's cool. I think the Fracture's cool for sure. And his turn meter abilities are really neat. But I do agree with you. I think he's going to be more of a raid character. And that'll be that for him. I still think he's awesome. I just don't have the gear. I mean, I'm in the slums of gear right now.
If I had the gear in the Phoenix all 7-starred, I would be loving me a ton. But he would be a raid character.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I want him, to boost my numbers in raids.
Yes, I got a 7-star Thrawn, and he's gear 7. There's nothing I can do about it. He's just hanging out gear 7 for the foreseeable future.
He's not useful at gear 7, really?
In the raids, yeah, but I mean, there's no way I could even possibly think to use him in an arena setting.
Of course, in arena. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, and speaking of like arena, they redid the powers, so now Zeta abilities and other factors are included in how strong a character is, but we don't really know like even the original power how it affected Galactic War. Like your top 5 most powerful characters their power would be accumulatively added, and then the computer couldn't match up an opponent for you in Galactic War. But now I guess we don't really know how that's gonna work, right?
Not yet. I mean, it just came out this week. But like before, it's just people would put in their highest geared characters. That's why you see Galactic War Note 11 of like General Kenobi, Night Sister Initiate, Sun Fac. Just a garbage team that just so they can get their power all high.
Yeah. It's just it's weird now with the Zeta abilities included, and it'll be interesting to see how the new game mode, because they changed it for a reason, and Knotty and I think both believe that they're gonna change it because they changed it because of the new game mode and how maybe you find new opponents through your power.
I could see them maybe preemptively trying to scale it ahead of time instead of just giving us a big surprise all at once. I mean, which is, we'll see at the end, but if they're trying to kind of slowly do it this time, that means they might have learned from some of the mistakes they made in the past. They just give us, a bag full of surprises all at once.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Both of you should say preemptively trying to scale it, I think is a very accurate way to put it. Where the new power ratings, it's just taking more into account than there was before, so that it's a more accurate representation of a meaningful metric rather than just some number we got used to. We got to get used to a new number. Hopefully it'll make the new thing that's coming out work better. We'll see.
I'm just glad I don't have to look at Sunfac and Royal Guard as my two of my top 3 characters anymore.
Yeah, that is a good point. That is a good point. That's definitely something different for once, since we're kind of complaining about nothing changing for a while since November of 2016. So, I guess the last thing we haven't really talked about is ally coins, our beloved ally coins that we haven't really used. Do you guys think they'll be used for the new game mode, or maybe if squad tournaments come back, you think they'll still use them?
I don't know. I actually am secretly hoping that my desire to hoard them and not spend hours tapping on the screen or using some kind of Lego device or a macro hack to cash them all in. I hope that'll pay off one day because I have 800k still and I'm just too lazy to burn them. But more than likely, I'll just have to spend them. I would really like to see some other way to use them.
I don't personally think they'll be used for the new game mode, but I mean, they have in the past said, just burn them. You guys don't need them. Then, just kidding, guys. We're going to use them for tournaments now. So, I mean, if you have, 800,000, a million, some ridiculous amount of them, you could probably spend some, but you might want to keep maybe like a reserve bank, of at least a little bit. Just because, I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows what they'll throw at you, I guess. All right, to close off the little podcast we had here, I've got one question for you. Who is the best character in the game right now?
R2-D2.
I don't know. R2 as a single unit, R2-D2 is crazy. I just gear 10'd him, and he's nuts, man.
I think
I'm mostly thinking of pairs of people. But for as one single unit, yeah, R2-D2 is arguably one of the best characters in the whole game.
I would argue Darth Nihilus is the best still.
Yeah, but see, my roster is pretty heavy on the light side, so R2 benefits me more. But Darth Nihilus is definitely up there. I mean, you can look at the meta report; he's the #1 used character in the game, like hands down, easily.
Yeah, they need to add him on a Cantina node so free-to-play players who weren't around for the marquee event can get him, because he's such a, on the outsider's perspective, you look at Darth Nihilus like, wow, that's a cool character, I want him, but then the way to get him is unbelievably brutal. So that kind of stinks. But
especially now, because he's not in the shard shop anymore.
Yeah, right? and R2's cool, and Nihilus is a little more gear friendly to me. I guess maybe.
Oh, absolutely.
But still, definitely great character, no doubt about that. And he's probably going to be the most powerful with the 2 unique Zetas.
Mm-hmm.
And
I guess it depends on your definition of the word best for what's the best character. But both are arguably in the top 5 strongest of everything in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I play Goofy. My top 10 characters is going to be way different than probably yours and Knotty's.
Yeah, it depends where you come from. Yeah, we should probably do that, or some arena battle, or some arena meta report thing. I don't know. We'll think of something. It was really fun. So guys, thanks for hanging out. Guys, that's it for today's video. If you enjoy it, drop a like. Now in the description of this video, there's several things. There are 3 links to the forums posts of what's new with Kylo Ren. His an outrage has been fixed. And also, GoodOl'Maurice's channel is in the description. Subscribe to that man's channel. He is awesome. He makes great content. I do have to say thank you guys for watching this, and thanks, Knotty, for coming out. See you guys in the next video. Peace out.